Blast from the grassroots, connecting people and sharing ideas.
Good morning. Welcome back to Blast from the Grassroots. Here we have our guest. His name is Heislyc, and we're going to talk about the startup communities and also mainly in Malaysia as well. So good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Great.
Okay. All right.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Well, good to have you here today, this morning. I hope you are awake to have an conversation with us.
Not quite a morning person, but I'm fine.
But thank you so much for making yourself to our studio today. So could you shortly introduce yourself, Heislyc?
Yes, so I'm Heislyc, and right now I'm leading a few initiatives for startup community in Malaysia. The first one is Startup Mamak, which has been 3 years. We organize monthly meetup for startup entrepreneurs to meet and learn from each other. And I also organize AngelHack, which is one of the world's largest hackathon movement. We gather developers and designers together and create new projects over 24 hours. This year has been second year running.
Mm-hmm.
We have been partnering with TM, Huawei, and MDEC for the competition, and we are able to select one team and send them to San Francisco for world global competition.
Mm.
And I'm also leading Founder Institute, which is a structured mentorship program for entrepreneurs. It started from Silicon Valley. At the end of this year, we will be in 100 cities.
100 cities.
And my job is to lead the Kuala Lumpur chapter.
So how did you actually get involved in all this community?
So about 3 years ago, I started my own startup, and at the same time, I started to join more startup events, and I realized there's not many community that allow entrepreneurs to come together and meet each other.
Mm-hmm.
So I took the initiative to organize a monthly meetup,
Mm-hmm.
and I think we need to find a localized name, so that's why I just called it Startup Mamak.
Oh,
to
yes.
begin with.
Mamak sounds very local.
Yeah. So usually people share their idea during Mamak session, and I hope to replicate the same when a group of entrepreneurs meet together. And I hope each and everyone could, not only learn from each other, they could also help each other. And I believe such community building effort could help to build up the ecosystem for Malaysia.
I see.
Yeah.
So you talked about the Startup Mamak here, and it's already been 3 years, you said.
Yes.
What's the most highlighted business that people usually talk about? I know there are lots of different kinds of and the various types when it comes to discussion, if I'm not mistaken.
Usually it's internet-based business or
Internet.
yeah,
Mm.
it's
So like online websites and
website and portal.
Mhm.
So I recall how I met this founder and group CEO of iMoney. His name is Lee Ching-wei.
Mhm.
We met about 3 years back, and back then he was just another young dude coming back from Australia
Oh, I see.
and wanted to start something. And I even remember that he was trying to pitch an idea that wasn't originally about iMoney, but something else. And the group gave feedback, and and he realized the idea wasn't good enough. And then later on, I realized he went on to pursue his other startup idea, which now became iMoney, that recently raised 30 million funding. And I think it's, for example, Ching, it's one of the very hardworking guys. So I hope community building effort like Startup Mamak could let us meet other people with which is like-minded entrepreneur that this it's a place where the friendship and entrepreneurship is created.
Definitely, I hear a lot of potential when it comes to discussing all these matters regarding entrepreneur or business side. And then I also hope that this startup mama will grow and bigger. How about the other initiatives that you mentioned, Angel Hug and also Founder Institute?
So I'll talk about Founder Institute first.
Mm-hmm.
When I attend a startup conference in Singapore, I met this gentleman, Jeffrey.
Mm.
He was VC in Singapore. He also runs Founder Institute in Singapore, and that's where I learned about this program, and I realized one of the way to learn is to help others learn as well. So Founder Institute, it's a structured mentorship program.
Mm-hmm.
It runs for 3 months. How it works is that you invite mentors
Mm-hmm.
regionally or globally to teach certain topics, starting from ideation, market research, even how do you acquire user, how do you raise fund, how do you build your team, all this in 3 months. And the graduate will be people who went through this program and graduate will be those who is ready to launch a product into the market and has a founding team. So the program is focused on developing the working professional into a full-time entrepreneur.
And also, this program is to educate them at the same time.
It's not so much about education. But we get mentors to share with them real life experience, and at the same time mentor the new entrepreneur how to what not to do on their ideas, and what's the right way of developing their idea into a company.
So after the program, would you get any certificate? Because they finished the whole program, month program.
Yes, they'll get certificate, but more importantly, they will have a company.
Definitely.
And a founding team, and as well as a prototype that is ready to be marketed. Yeah. So we have been running 2 years, and right now we have about 18 graduates. And the program is quite tough. Usually we start with 30 over people, and only about 30% of them graduates.
Why is it so hard?
It's a matter of commitment when you need to run a new startup as well as keeping your job. And some of them, although they are self-employed, still it takes a lot of time commitment to actually start a new company. So some of them couldn't really commit, and some of them have weak idea. And along the way, we actually ask them to revise the idea. If they still fail to do so, we actually ask them to leave the program, because if you have a weak idea, it is quite unlikely that you will succeed at the early stage.
Then wouldn't you want to encourage them to have to have more ideas to add on to those weak ideas that you said, rather than asking to leave the
Usually
the
they are too stubborn to refine the idea, and that's why to keep the quality of the program and to spend time with the founders with the right mindset, we usually have to be tough and ask those with weak idea to leave the program.
I see. Yeah. So I will say that's one of the challenges they will face. What are the other challenges you will face when it comes to training people? Because there are lots of various ideas when it comes to the startup.
Most of the time, I think to be an entrepreneur, there's few characteristics that is very important. One, that is to have grit and the resilience to tough challenges, as well as the resourcefulness, the mindset of abundance. And when we interact with new entrepreneur or people with idea want to develop it further, people who is less coachable will be having hard time to accept advice on their ideas. So you have to be coachable. Otherwise, it's difficult for mentors to help you. Yeah.
So you need to have this open mind to be able to accept the advice and the comments that the mentor will give.
Yeah.
All right. How about let's move on to the other one, which is Angel Hack.
So Angel Hack, it's basically a hackathon movement. What is hackathon is that you gather developers and designers into a team and make them create new projects and new idea in 24 hours. And I've been organizing second year, and we have managed to gather over 200 designers and developers and compete together and created over 50 projects that is new to the market, that is solving some problems or making certain idea better. So one team has created recently, the recent one is in June, and one team has created a queue ticketing system on app, which means you can actually obtain your queue number even if you are not on premise. You basically request a queue ticket over app, and so you can basically save the queuing time.
Oh, yeah. All right, I get the idea. Okay, that's pretty fresh.
So right now they are still developing it into a final product, and I'm continuing mentoring them, and I hope. And let's think about what if this solution is deployed into banks and some of the public administrative systems.
So that's in the larger scale.
Yeah. So I see the potential there, and just a matter of commercializing it and making the current system accept a new system.
So for this, how long is the program in Angel Hack?
Angel Hack is a 24-hour event.
24 hours event.
Basically, it involves marketing to the developers group, and basically bring them together under one roof and just give them the environment to create something new over 24 hours. So I've been involved in over more than 10 hackathons and also mentor a few, and Angel Hack is the one that I'm been responsible to organize. Yeah.
So okay, that's what's been happening in Malaysia, I believe, in Kuala Lumpur. How about countries around Malaysia? Would you share with us, like, how is it different from Malaysia? Okay, in terms of people's mindset, their attitude, and their principle when it comes to startups, how are they different from the other countries?
There's not much difference. In fact, Malaysia is catching up as part of the Southeast Asia region. So Singapore, Philippines, Thailand, Indonesia are all moving very fast in terms of building their startup ecosystem. And however, in Malaysia, we are quite lucky. We are quite lucky to have a few national agency and initiative that is focused on developing entrepreneurs. So, for example, MAGIC, Malaysian Global Innovation and Creativity Center, that started less than 6 months ago. It's one of the dedicated, one of the national agency that is dedicated in building the entrepreneur ecosystem. And we have similar community building effort and initiative in our neighboring country, for example, Singapore. And we also noticed that a lot of foreign investment is going into Singapore. But right now, we hope that Malaysia will eventually play a leading role in the region and become the startup capital of Asia, actually.
Yeah. That'll be really, really great to hear.
Yeah.
How about in terms of the government involvement in these old projects, how is the government responding to this?
It's quite exciting.
Mm-hmm.
If you notice that recently in the budget announcement,
Mm-hmm.
That the government is allocating a special visa pass via Magic
Mm-hmm.
for foreign entrepreneurs to set up business in Malaysia. And this is a 1-year special visa pass that could be applied once the policy is set in place
Mm-hmm.
for entrepreneurs to set up business here.
So definitely that is opening another platform for foreigners to come in and start up. But also, how about for Malaysians? No, how do they benefit from this government budget 2015 they introduced when it comes to startup?
So I'm not sure about the budget part, but Magic has been organizing a few initiatives for the local entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
For example, just recently, Magic has launched Magic Startup Academy, which is a series of workshops that is tailored for entrepreneurs to upskill themselves. So the workshop could teach us different topics. For example, product development, fundraising, how do you acquire user, how do you set up your marketing strategy. So all these workshops are actually planned for local entrepreneurs so that they can learn from the best and be more versatile when developing their business. Yeah.
So these community initiatives are open to anyone.
Yes.
Anyone, and there is no certain criteria or requirement.
No.
It's just that they need to have a strong, firm ideas. Like
Yes.
they can actually continue and then carry on with their plan. What are the other activities that they can expect from each community initiative? Like, for example, Startup Mamak.
Yeah.
What are the activities that you usually do?
Usually we organize a monthly meetup at the first week of the month.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
But when it comes to meeting people and mingling with people, they need to have softer skills, right? To be able to communicate with others. But then some are pretty shy and reserved. How do you approach them? Because they might have great ideas, but then they are not really used to meeting with people outside.
So that's exactly the purpose of community building.
Mm-hmm.
First, you tell them that there is a platform for them to share the idea, and you're just gonna keep inviting them, and eventually once the community leader or the community member just open up and share the idea, others will follow. Yeah. And a good community is a community that is open-minded and acceptance to new ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And each community member will just encourage the people surrounding them. And so it's also a matter of give first before you take.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe eventually, whoever's involved will just get the positive energy, and after all, if you the first step in becoming entrepreneur is to take initiative. Yeah. So I hope just continuing doing it will help to encourage more people.
Do you have any very interesting scenarios by having this meeting with different people? I mean, various people from various backgrounds. Do you have any interesting scenarios? For example, this person has a great idea, but he's from unexpected area. For example, a lot of people, most of people are from business sectors, but then this one person could be from a music background or art background, but then he or she wants to start something very different.
Yeah, so essentially startup is it's just a term where it refers to any business that is less than 3 years old. But we actually don't discriminate any types of ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one time that there's this person looking for to make something different with your current industry. He wants to disrupt the current industry by helping people who want to learn music instruments to find the music instructor.
Mm-hmm.
And basically he's asking where to find technology co-founder to build a solution, to build a website. And we actually managed to introduce him a few good candidates, and at the end some of them actually got together and built something. Yeah, so I think community is also a platform where you will never know who you meet next.
Exactly.
And you might meet your next partner as well. Yeah.
That's the benefits that they can get from this committee. But I also have a little bit of doubt. Let's say I have a really great idea of starting business, but also at the same time I'm afraid that people actually can steal my idea, you see?
Yeah.
So that's when I become more reserved and then be more careful when it comes to attending committees and then like meetings. So how do I overcome this?
So
Because I believe I have a really great idea, but I don't want to be shared because I want to be the one who start this business.
basically there's no idea that is original,
Mm-hmm.
and there will always be similar idea in the market. So it is actually more important to share the idea you have, and to find people with same vision, who find people who share the same vision of your idea, and to build together. If you don't share, you will never know who is the right people to build the idea with.
So that in that sense, you're blocking your own opportunities.
Yes. And again, there's no idea that is unique. So idea only worth a dime, and it is how you make the idea happen that is matter.
So it's all about how you put that into action and then carry out your plan to make it happen. Yeah. So these three initiatives in Malaysia, I believe they are growing up and they're becoming larger and larger. So how do you see these initiatives like in next 5 years?
So I think it's after 3 years. It's what I hope to see in the next 5 years is that other people will take over the initiative. It doesn't necessarily be driven by myself all the time, and I think the community the community should evolve over time and be self-organized and self-driven by other community member. It doesn't have to be all rely on one person all the time. And I think that's what's most important, where each and everyone has the attitude of paying it forward, that you give first before you take. And I hope if more people do that, that would be great. Even if there's more similar initiative, as long as the objective is to help each other to grow, that would be my hope for the next 5 years.
That's pretty positive. Where can people find all these websites? Where can they find all these startups?
To find out more about Startup Mama, there's a Facebook group. It's Startup Mama in one word, and there's also a Facebook page of Angel Hack Kuala Lumpur. And to check out more about Founding Still, the website is fi.co.
fi.co.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. Other than in Malaysia, just to highlight do you have any upcoming meetings that people can probably join, and also just to have a look at it?
I'm not planning any so far, but
Because I believe it was a monthly meeting.
but most of the event
Mhm.
or most of the startup related event will be posted in the Startup Mama Facebook group.
All right, I see.
Yeah.
So you will encourage people to find it first and then follow
Yeah.
up after that.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Heislyc, for
Thank
joining
you.
us tonight. And so I hope our listeners have more ideas about this startup and what it is about, and what are the other initiatives they can find in Malaysia. So we'll get back. We'll come back after playing a few songs. So I'll see you there.